UFC Saudi Arabia was last night, and we all know what happened. Izzy Adesanya got knocked out in the second round. Imavov worked incredible in that fight, man. Like, I didn't know what to think about Imavov before that fight. I know he's on a really good run, but man, that showed that he is definitely a top middleweight. But we're not talking about Imavov. We're talking about Izzy Adesanya, and you know, what's next for him? Where should he go now? And I want to go over the career of Izzy Adesanya briefly and talk about what he means to the UFC. So if that interests you, stick around. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, we all know, like I said, Izzy Adesanya got knocked out um, for the second time in his MMA career. And I see a lot of people saying that he was an unway stoppage. Could they have let it go on a few more seconds? Yeah, but I don't see why. Like he was clearly gonna get finished. Like, and I know it's more entertainment for us, but I don't like seeing fighters get more CTE than any. I felt like that stoppage, it was okay. I'm not gonna go off it, and like it's not like it was looking like Israel was defending, and that's the biggest thing is, you know, when you're getting when you have somebody on top of you and they're wiggling shots, the number one thing is if you're defending yourself, the fight to go on. But he couldn't really put much of a defense up there, and I think it was probably only a few more shots until he went out cold. And you know, whether you like Izzy, whether you hate Izzy, you cannot deny that he is one of the stars of the last few years, and his legacy is cemented. He will be a Hall of Famer. You know, he is one of the best middleweights of all time in his prime. Now we're gonna talk about his championship run. We're gonna talk about contender Izzy. Um, but really quick, before I want to before I do that, I want to pull this up. This is his entire career, right? So, they even have his kickboxing career. So, like, you look at his kickboxing career, right? Started in 2010, um, beat Jerry Steger, I'm not gonna go through all the names, but like you look at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I'm not counting these either. But like you look at how successful his kickboxing career actually was, right? We all know about the Pereira fights. We'll get to that, but like for the most part, man, this guy, yeah, there it is. Unanimous decision, really close fight. Then he got KO'd in the third round in their second fight. But he had a really successful kickboxing career, and that's what caught the eye of many people in the MMA community. And then he made the move over to UFC, beat Rob Wilkinson by TKO, beat Marvin Vittori by split decision, Brad Tavares by unanimous decision, KO Derek Brunson, had to fight with Anderson Silva. Yes, Anderson Silva was way past his prime, but to have a name like that on your resume, it says a lot. You know, obviously it would have been better if that was 2013, 2012, but I mean he wasn't in the UFC, so There's not much you can do about it. Then he had the interim title fight with Kelvin Gastelum. One of the best fights ever. Really back and forth. He won that, won the interim title, and then we all know what happened next. He KO'd Robert Whitaker in the second round with a counter left hook. And that's where it started, right? He beat Robert Whitaker. No, he beat Yoel Romero by unanimous decision. And that really, really boring fight. Nothing happened in that fight. If you didn't watch it, you basically watched the fight. But then he moved on to Paulo Costa. TKO'd him in the second round. Obviously, you had him humping him too. That was pretty weird. And then he moved up to light heavyweight. Didn't bulk up for it. Fought Jan Blachowicz, and Jan Blachowicz exposed his wrestling defense. And Jan Blachowicz pretty much cruised to that decision win against Adesanya with minimal minimal adversity in that fight. But moves that down to middleweight in June, beats Marvin Vittoria for the second time. Then he rematches Robert Whitaker in a very close fight. I thought that Whitaker won this fight, to be honest, but he got the win. Can't change it. Then he fought Jerry Cannonier, beat Jerry Cannonier. And you see here uh, where Izzy Adesanya had a much better come up as a contender, and when he won the belt, the the finishers kind of stopped. Then he fought Pereira in a fight that he was winning very handedly, but we all know Pereira got the TKO in the fifth round after his coach said, "You need to finish this. This is do or die." One of the coolest moments in UFC history, MMA history, I would say. I mean, obviously, no. He won the rematch with a counter right in the second round. By beating him, really, really good knockout. And he swayed that demon of not being able to beat his boogeyman. And without that, Pereira, we could be talking about much different legacy for Pereira and for Izzy. But then after that, he fought Sean Strickland, and Sean Strickland beat the brakes off of him. He dominated him for 5 rounds, not nearly KO'd him at some parts of the fight. But really, it really wasn't a good performance by Izzy. Then he took a year off, came back in August of last year, fought DDP. DDP, again, he exposed. When you pressure Izzy, he breaks. And then he got the rear naked choke at the end of, in the middle of the fourth, I should say. And now DDP is the champion. He's fighting Sean Strickland next week. And then most recently, you have the Imavov fight, which is the topic at hand here. But in that Imavov fight, he did look good in that first round. Like it's not like you can't say that Izzy is washed. That's not the case. It's just father time catching up. It's a division catching up, and when you're at the top for that long, you see it with Connor, you saw it with Usman, you saw it with so many other champions. People are watching your tapes religiously. When they're not in a fight camp, they are watching every one of your fights. They are breaking down every single movement. And that's what I think is going on with Izzy, right? And Imavov is 28, not even 30. He's young. He's hungry, and that's the biggest thing. I watched Jesse's video yesterday where he talked about Izzy's hunger, and he compared it to Rocky, where when Rocky in the first movie, you know, Rocky faced the adversity of, you know, coming up in boxing, losing the big fights, and then, you know, in the later movies, he gets he gets to the top, he's defending his belt, he makes all this money, and then he loses. He goes broke, and then that's when Rocky has his redemption. That's when he comes back. He wins the fights. He wins the belt, right? I don't see that happening for Izzy at 35, 36, 37, however old he is. I can't see it. At middleweight, I think what makes sense now is in the next year, bulking up, training, move to light heavyweight. You have nothing left to prove at middleweight. You won the belt, you defended it, you made your money, and you are out there for the money fights. The same way if Usman comes back, he is in it for the money fights. Like, and the biggest way you can do is the Pereira trilogy. And I feel like you can justify a light heavyweight title shot. Say it comes in. Let me pull up the rankings here, so um I know I can gauge something here. UFC rankings. So they better have updated them. Be quiet phone. Come on, UFC. Your website is shit. Alright, there we go. So, they haven't updated it yet, but number one, Sean, he's fighting Dricus. Number two, Imavov. Imavov is probably gonna be second or third. Then you got Holmes out, who has an next title shot. You have Whitaker, who he's fought twice. You have Caleb Barallo, and another up and comer, but I don't think he fights contenders. Marvin Vittori, he's beaten twice. Derek Cannonier, he beat. Brendan Allen, doesn't make sense. Roman Dolidze, doesn't make sense. Paulo Costa, he beat. Anthony Hernandez, doesn't make sense. Jack Hermanson, doesn't make sense. Shara just lost to MVP. And then you got uh my 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 Michael Pereira. I never know how to say his name. There's not really any fights from left at middleweight. There's none that make sense. So if he moves up to light heavyweight, you got Uncle Ive. He's fighting Pereira next month. Yuri, that'll be a fun fight. Yuri also is a stand-up fighter. He would be the number one contender if he didn't lose twice to Pereira. Um, there we go. Izzy versus Yuri makes a lot of sense. Then you got Jan Bohovic. He fought. Maybe you do the rematch. Jamal Hill. That would be a big fight. Rakic. That'd be a fun fight. Carlos Solberg. He's fighting Jan Bohovic. Um, I think he beats Jan. That's kind of where I'm leaning towards. Ah, do I think that though? Okay, I don't know. We're not predicting that fight here. You got Khalil Roundtree, who was the last person to fight Pereira. That could possibly be a good match, but Coelho is a beast. Krylov, Osman, Johnny Walker, Dominic Reyes, Esman, Merzicano, those guys always don't make sense. So that leaves you with, the, I would say, rank 1 to 7. Now, if Pereira loses the belt, they probably give him uh, an immediate rematch. And I think that they would want to do the trilogy fight for the belt. Just, you know, flashier, makes more sense, they make more money. But the Jan rematch kind of makes sense. Even if he loses to Goldberg, he's going to move down to 7 at the most, I think. I don't see him going below Nikita Krylov. I just don't see that happening. Maybe you do the rematch, and if this is Israel Adesanya properly moving up, this is him bulking up to light heavyweight, and you know, looking good, looking fast, the same way that John Jones did, and I think that he'll be able to fill in to light heavyweight better than John Jones filled in the heavyweight. And like the Pereira fight is basically the last big money fight he has. There's nothing left for him at middleweight. There's no way he's making welterweight. Like, light heavyweight is the way to go. Let's say he beats, the loser of Olberg and Blahovic. He's right up there for a title shot. And two, because he's a star, and this is what people hate. When you're a star, you get privilege. You get Dana White privilege, as we call it. The UFC would love to make that trilogy fight. Now, at light heavyweight, I think Alex starches him. But a proper light heavyweight Izzy would be interesting. And I think if he wanted to, he can fight until 39, 40. Middleweight is getting to be an older division. You got Pereira at 37, 38. You got Jan is over 40. Let's see. Jamal, Geary, and Uncle Ivar pretty young, but like Roundtree. How old is Roundtree actually? Let me make sure I have that muted. Okay. Kyle Roundtree is. Uh, Will Roundtree. He is 34. Okay, so 3 years younger. Well, like the higher you go in the in the weight classes, the further that age cutoff goes. But yeah, I say take a year off, come back, fight Jan Bohovic, fight Olberg, fight a guy that is almost at the top 5, maybe even in the top 5. And if you can win that, you do the Pereira trilogy. Maybe he wins the light heavyweight title, adding that to his resume. But apart from that, man, like I've been saying, I think the midweight chapter is done. If he's not going to retire, I don't see him coming back to middleweight. But that's really all I got. Let me know in the comments down below. What would you do with Israel Adesanya? Would you keep him at middleweight, or would you move him to light heavyweight? Or do you think he should retire? Because this guy, whether you love him or hate him, like I said, is one of the greatest fighters we have ever seen. Maybe not top 10, maybe not top 15, but top 20 without a doubt with what he did. But yeah, that's how I got. And yeah, later.